The topic of today's webinar is a very hot topic. I mean, means I may not be wrong if I say that in all the WhatsApp groups, in all the professional WhatsApp group, now this topic is very common. That why all the SSCs are unnecessarily receiving the reassessment notice under Section 148. So now the next question arises: what is the constitutional validity of this Section 148 notices? So now to explain in detail, today we are having a very learned faculty, Advocate Naresh Ji Jain, who is a master as far as litigation in direct tax and international tax is concerned. So without wasting much of the time, now I request Jitendra Bhai Kotari, our deputy convener, to kindly introduce the today's learned speaker. Over to you, Jitendra Bhai.
Thank you, Deepak, for introducing Mr. Naresh Jain. He is a practicing advocate, founder and the senior partner of Naresh Akshay Legal Services LLP, Mumbai. Presently, the firm with its leading head office at Mumbai and 3 branches office at New Delhi, Kolkata and Bangalore. And prior to establish the law firm, practicing as a chartered accountant for more than a decade. As an advocate, he has been involved in several complex high-stake tax litigation of the corporate and other SSE and the successfully argued case before Honorable Supreme Court, various High Court tribunal and other appellate authority. He takes a special interest in the direct tax as well as the international taxation. He's held various seminar and conference on the various forum of the tax professional. Shri Naresh Ji Jain has represented cases before various court of the leading corporate and the business house of India. Now I request to Naresh Ji you for taking the lecture. Thank you, sir. Sir, आप mute हैं.
Actually, sir's facing some technical glitches because of which he's unable to hear. If you could just give us a moment.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Study circle for giving this opportunity to me to address this burning issue. This issue is very hot all across India, especially in Bombay. And I must thank Sangoi Aditya Maheshri, who requested to my colleague Movi's request and on a very short notice allowed this seminar. So with this, I start the topic because I am already late. So I believe I am clearly audible now. Am I audible?
No, sir. Some disturbance
of reopening, and most of you and your clients must have received notices of reopening in last 3 months. Notices under Section 148 under old law. This has happened because of the Relaxation Act. Why this large many number of offices on notices? Because of accumulated notices were issued in these 3 months for number of years, and it happened because of COVID and also because of amendment in 147. Because of COVID, what happened, that Parliament passed the law giving power to central government to extend the date of reopening, and government has been extending the date for reopening. Am I audible? Just confirming.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
So I continue. If I am not audible, please interrupt. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
I must explain why there is such a large many number of notices in last 3 months, because of 2 reasons. Number one, central government have been empowered by a parliamentary act that they can extend the time limit for issue of notices. So, number of years notices were issued in very short, has to be issued in very short period of time. That is reason number one. For example, assessment year 13-14 and 14-15. It was mandatory for both the years to issue notices before 30th June 2021. Otherwise, it was getting expired. That was one of the reasons. Second reason was that from 1st April 21, the reopening law was completely changed in contrast to earlier law. The new law gives lot of restriction on reopening, both with respect to scope of reopening as well as from the point of view of time limitation. The new law is stringent for reopening so far as revenue is concerned. Therefore, for other years also, for assessment year 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, otherwise the department reopen those cases when time barring for them arrives. Yes. What happened? Video करें. करो तुम करो तो. That because new law was stringent for reopening. We will come to know what were the stringency. Stringent because of two reasons. First, scope for reopening, it's limited. Second, time limitation. 3 years for general reopening. Earlier there were 6 years. So because of that, department tried to reopen under old law for assessment year 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18 also. So 5 years accumulated reopening attempt were made by department under old law between the period 1st April 21 to 30th June 21. So that is why lots of notices have reached the business people and other SSC also. And I must say lots of notices were missed also. Lot of SSC were lucky that they were supposed to get notices under 147 because of so much jhamela, portal failure and a lot of other things. They did not receive the notice. Still, the number of notices issued and received are very large in number. Now suppose we start with a case study of an SSC. Straightway a case study of an SSC. Suppose a builder, say Bhumi Limited, Bhumi Limited received on 3rd May 2021 5 reopening notices under old law, year 13, 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17 and 17, 18. Take a case study. 5 years were reopened on 3rd May 2021 under old law. And the business house was aware. Business house was aware what would be the reason for reopening. Business house was aware that the reason for reopening is in all the 5 years, suppose was that this SSC incurred a loss of speculation of 2 crore each in all 5 years, and they set it off with developers income, business income. So speculation income was wrongly, speculation losses were wrongly set off in these 5 years, amounting to 2 crore each with business income, developers income. And they are aware this could be the cause of reopening. There is escapement of income. All 5 years notices were issued. Now, suppose the firm approaches you, the company approaches you, Baba, these 5 years notices in one time. Earlier we used to get one notice in 1 year, now 5 notices in one time involving 10 crore of rupees, tax, interest, penalty, too much of burden, time is already bad. What can we do? Then what your advice would be? These are the 5 years notices, 13-14 to 17-18. Let us analyze what can be done and what is getting done in the courts. So far as, and suppose we study what is the legal position. The legal position is that so far as notices for assessment year 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18 is concerned, I can straightway say that they are completely illegal. Straightway, completely illegal. How? You will, the government would argue the time for reopening under old law has been extended from 1st April 2021 to 30th June, and so within this time, if these years are reopened, where is the mistake? So if you see the notification extending the time limit, it is extending time limit for only those years, reopening for those years which were expiring on 30th April 2021. Make a note of it. The extension by government notification for reopening is only for what? Those reopening which were expiring between 20th March 2020 to 30th April 2021. Reopening which was expiring between this period was only extended by the notification. And straightway one can say that assessment year 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18 were not expiring between this period. If you see the government notification critically, you will find what they are extending. If Morvi could show the notification, yes. Morvi, you can read the relevant portion for the audience so that they come to know that that 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18 are not covered by this extension of time. Yes. Read it for everyone.
This is the notification dated 31st March 2021. I'm reading out the relevant paras. Where the specified act is the Income Tax Act, hereinafter referred to as the Act, the completion of any action referred to under subsection A, clause A, subsection 1 of 3 of the Act relates to passing of an order under subsection 13 of 144C or issuance of notice under section 148 as per time limit specified under 149 or sanction under section 151 of the Income Tax Act. The 31st day of March 2021 shall be the date of the period during which the time limit specified in or prescribed or notified under the Income Tax Act falls for the completion of such action, and 30th day of April 2021 shall be the date to which the time limit for completion of such action shall be extended. Explanation? Yes.
Morvi, this is up to 30th April. What about 30th June? That notification you should put. After April, there is another notification extending. Yes.
Yes, sir. So this is the second one. That was the first notification that was issued. After which, the second notification that came in extended the time limit from March to June. I'll read the relevant paragraph. The completion of any action referred to in clause A of subsection 1, this is the same as the previous one, and the time limit of such action expires on the 30th day of April 2021 due to its extension by the said notifications, such time limit shall further stand extended to the 30th day of June 2021.
Just hold. More way to hold here. Wait. We should see the language of the government notification, which is extending time limit for reopening after 30th April. What clause B is saying that I am reading, issuance of notice clause B, issuance of notice under section 148 as per time limit specified in section 149 or sanction under 151 of the Income Tax Act, and the time limit for completion of such action expires on 30th day of April 2021. Very important. Due to its extension by said notification, such time limit shall further stand extended to 30th June 2021. So anybody can say that this notification is extending what was getting expired, the reopening which was getting expired on 30th day of April 2021. And we all know that on this day, only assessment year 13-14 and 14-15 was expiring. Please calculate 6 years from end of assessment year, further extended time. Because assessment year 15-16 does not expire, reopening does not expire on that day. It expires on 31st March 2022. As per section 149 of old law, 16-17, 17-18 also does not expire on 30th April 2021. So my submission is, Marvi, you can remove this. My submission is, and it's a perfectly legal submission, that a time limit only for assessment year 13-14 and 14-15 which was expiring, something which was not expiring, how could you extend the time limit for that? Time limit is already there. Of course, under new law it would be applied. Something which is alive, you cannot give them the second life. They are alive. So assessment year 15-16, 16-17, 17-18 is not covered by these notification. Assessment year 13-14, 14-15 is covered by this notification. So for 5 reopening notices that the builder has received, last 3 could not be reopened under old law because notification does not give them time under old law. It gives only 13-14 and 14-15 time under the old law up to 30th June 2021. So what would be the legal position? For these 3 years, if notification doesn't cover them, then it will get covered by enacted law under section 147. That's the new law. On 1st April 21, new law is in force. Old law extended up to 30th June only for 13-14, 14-15, not for 15-16, 16-17, 17-18. So under old law, after 1st April 21, if an assessing officer is issuing notices, he is operating under a deleted law. Because that law is deleted, substituted by a new law. And anybody and everybody knows if a law is deleted, authority cannot take an action under that law. So you can say your client that Baba for 15-16, 16-17, 17-18, issuance of notice under old law when new law is in place is absolutely wrong. Assessing officer is exercising jurisdiction under deleted law which is not permissible. Then client would say, what do we do? Client say, what do we do? So what is the remedy? So there are 2 remedies. There are 2 actions. Yes, allow. So there are two normal action which we do. Once we get reopening notice, we file return, we approach assessing officer, we seek reason, we object. We object also. This is normally what we do. But in this case, all these need not be done. All these need not be done. What is to be done? Why this need not be done? Because there is a concept of no jurisdiction. There are two kinds of jurisdiction issue. One is conditional jurisdiction and other is no jurisdiction. Conditional jurisdiction, the law earlier was under 147 that there was a necessary requirement of reason to believe, then only AO can reopen. That's a conditional jurisdiction. You need AO should fulfill some condition, case should fulfill some condition to give jurisdiction to AO to reopen. That is what we call conditional jurisdiction. So in case of conditional jurisdiction, if there is any breach, the course is to approach that authority. Baba, you are not fulfilling condition, drop the reassessment. That is the procedure. For example, in 263 also, there is a conditional jurisdiction that what? That there should be, order should be erroneous and prejudicial to interest of revenue. These are conditional jurisdiction. So if these conditions are to be fulfilled, then only commissioner can revise under section 263. This is a concept of conditional jurisdiction. So the right course is to approach that authority only and ask him, Baba, you are not fulfilling condition. And he may drop it. But there is another concept of no jurisdiction. When this authority has no jurisdiction at all. I say for 15, 16, 16, 17 and 17, 18 is a case of no jurisdiction. Because the law is deleted, under which you are operating without any legal power. So you need not approach that authority. You can straightway go to writ court in jurisdictional high court. So please try to understand two concepts, conditional jurisdiction and no jurisdiction. Law is well settled. If it is a case of no jurisdiction, then you can straightway move to high court. You need not approach that authority. And people have moved high court in these kind of cases. Bombay High Court did not ask them, you first approach assessing officer, seek reason to believe that. Bombay High Court did not ask them. Bombay High Court entertained the writ petition because of the case of no jurisdiction. So one of the SSC went to Bombay High Court, and I also went and I got the stay, saying that when new law is in force, how could assessing officer operate under old law? And Bombay High Court has given a stay to this reopening, and he did not approach assessing officer. That judgment is there, Bombay High Court. I will explain, and it will come in the screen in short time. What the SSC argued, SSC's counsel argued in Bombay High Court, that after 1st April 21, when new law is in force, old law is deleted, the assessing officer cannot operate under old law, and he insisted, the counsel insisted that under new law, there is a mandatory provision of 148A. There is under new law after 1st April 2021, there is a mandatory provision of section 148A, which requires before issuance of notice under 148, an inquiry to be made by AO, opportunity of hearing to be given, and after SSC submits reply, then he will decide whether reopening is to be done or not. That is section 148A. So it was argued before High Court, Honorable High Court, that after 1st April 21, when new law is in force, the 148A mandatory requirement is not followed by assessing officer, and straightway 148 notices are given. This is contrary. This is contrary to the law in force, and Bombay High Court understood and appreciated this and issued a stay. Morvi would show that Bombay High Court judgment That's the first judgment, and on that basis, we got also stay in number of cases. Morbi first judgment of Bombay High Court. Please screen show. Okay. Video. This is Bombay High Court. Please note everyone this judgment, and people are going in it based on this judgment, not Tata Communication, the other one. Morbi other one.
Armada.
Yeah.
Is the decision of
Yeah.
the Bombay
This
High
is.
Court.
Please show the name of the judgment and read the
Yes.
relevant portion. This is the judgment of Bombay High Court, Armada D1 Private Limited. This was 3rd June 2021 judgment. And what is the operative part, para 4?
I'm just
Read,
reading out
Morbi.
the operative part. In view of the matter, we are inclined to stay proceedings in connection with notice dated 7th April 2021 under Section 148 of the Income Tax Act for the assessment year 13-14. Till the next date, there shall be ad interim stay to the proceedings in connection with the notice dated 7th April 2021. So stay
Read para
has
2
been
also.
granted.
Read para 2 also.
Sure, sir. Mr. Pardiwala, the learned senior counsel for the petitioner, drew our attention to the notice annexed at Exhibit L with reference to the provisions of Section 148A of the Act, which requires the assessing officer to conduct the inquiry and also provide an opportunity of being heard, which has not been apparently done. He therefore seeks stay of further proceedings in the matter.
Yes, it's fine. So what I am saying, this is for 13-14, but for 15-16, 16-17, 17-18, clearly it is not covered by old law. Even for 13-14, the court is taking a view because new law is in force on 1st April 2021 and 148A is operative. How could assessing officer ignore mandatory provision of 148A before he proceed for 148? Because it's a parliamentary enactment, supreme law of the land. So that is, I will come to these 2 years later. But so far as 15-16, 16-17, 17-18, it is grossly wrong. Because old notification, even government does not want it to be covered by notification. It is to be covered by new law. And if 15-16, 16-17, 17-18 is not accordance with the new law, definitely you will get a stay from High Court if you approach High Court, and it will get quashed. It will get quashed because it is clearly in violation of new law and only new law is applicable. That is my view. That's my legal view. So far as assessment year 13-14 and 14-15 is concerned, you may say, Baba, that is covered by central government notification. And if notice is issued on 3rd May 2021, and it is getting covered by central government notification, then where is the problem? In these 2 years, reopening is fine. The answer is no. Reason you will like to understand why. Answer is no. Why these 2 years are also bad? I'll explain. You see, what is the legal position? The legal position is that originally, after COVID was there was one parliamentary act, relaxation, relaxing time limit, and that gave power to central government to extend the time limit, keeping in view COVID crisis. So central government taking power from that act, relaxation act, enacted in October 2020, extended time limit from time to time, both for reopening and also completion of assessment. This is the legal position. Now, central government has extended for 13-14 and 14-15 time limit for reopening up to 30th June 2021. So this notice came in on 3rd May 21. That's perfectly right so far as notification is concerned. But there is a problem. The problem is what? Problem is that after that Relaxation Act, Parliament came out with the Finance Act 2021 in Feb 2021. And in Finance Act 2021, Parliament observed that old law of reopening is excessive litigative. If you see the object they write, our old law is excessively litigative. Too much litigation. So we will improve the system from 1st April 2021. We will bring in checks and balances like 148A, limited time limit for reopening. We'll bring in checks and balances so that there is lesser litigation, convenience for business. That was the object. So 1st April 2021, new law was brought in and it substituted the old law of 147. Now, from 1st April 2021, Parliament has enacted a new law which is in force. 148A is part of new law which is also in force from 1st April 21. Now you have two laws operating at one point of time. One through central government notification saying till 30th June we will continue with the old law for assessment year 13-14 and 14-15. And after 1st April 21, there is a parliamentary enacted law saying that from this day onwards, reopening procedure would be this. Now, these two laws are in conflict to each other. There is no 148A in old law. In new law, there is 148A. They are in conflict to each other. Now, this conflict, who would resolve? The principle is that if a parliamentary act is in conflict to subordinate or delegated legislation, common sense approach says that it's a parliament's law which should prevail, not the delegated law. This is common sense. Central government is extending the time limit under old law by delegated legislation. That is notification. And from 1st April 2021, there is a parliamentary law. Both are in conflict with each other. So it is a well settled position that when there is a conflict between parliamentary enactment and delegated or subordinate legislation, Parliament Act would prevail. It's commonsensical. It's not a rocket science. Parliament is supreme body for lawmaking in this country. They have delegated something to government. But that delegated legislation, if it conflict to parliamentary law would prevail, not the delegated legislation. To try to, what is the constitutional position of lawmaking in this country is that it is the legislature who would make the law. Central law by parliament, state law by state legislature. And suppose parliament is busy, they can delegate some ancillary function to executive also, legislative function. That is delegated legislation, subordinate legislation, where parliament gives some ancillary power to central government or executive to enact the law like this. Like in this case, because of COVID crisis, they have given you can extend the time for reopening. That is a delegated legislation. So delegated legislation, and after that October 2020 Relaxation Act, there is a fresh legislation by Parliament itself that from 1st April this would be the law for reopening. Now they are in conflict to each other, then anybody can say that Parliamentary Act would prevail. So that is why this notification itself is challenged in the High Court. This notification extending the time limit after 1st April 2021 under old law, this notification itself has been challenged in High Court of Bombay saying that how could a central government give a notification which is contrary to parliamentary enactment? And that judgment is also recent, Bombay High Court, Tata Communication. So for assessment year 13-14 and 14-15 also, we have a defense that you cannot operate under old law because new law is in force and new law is parliamentary law, very superior law as compared to delegated law. Central government is an executive, parliament is highest law making body. Who would prevail? Parliament would prevail. And in old 147 as well as new 147, there is no saving clause. Am I audible? Marvi?
Yes,
Yes,
you
sir.
are.
Yeah, you try to understand one more point. In old 147, there is no saving clause that because of COVID, central government can extend the old law to new period. There is no such saving clause, neither in 147 old nor in 147 new. So delegated legislation, by delegated legislation, if you try to override the parliamentary enactment, that is a foolishness on the part of central government. So that is why that notification is challenged in the High Court. So there is already a Supreme Court on this issue, Indian Express newspaper, which deals with this issue, which says that if subordinate or delegated legislation is in conflict to parliamentary legislation, then it's parliamentary legislation which would prevail. That is Indian Express Limited. वो judgment show करो मौलवी. Paragraph 73. जिससे जजमेंट का नाम साइटेशन भी बताना होगा और पैराग्राफ 73 ओपन करो जो ये प्रिंसिपल दे रहा है. Yes, this is 73. Marvi, you can read this paragraph. Supreme Court
Yes.
judgment.
A piece of subordinate legislation does not carry the same degree of immunity which is enjoyed by a statute passed by a competent legislature. Subordinate legislation may be questioned on any of the grounds on which plenary legislation is questioned. In addition, it may also be questioned on the ground that it does not conform to the statute under which it is made. It may further be questioned on the
It may further be questioned on the ground that it is contrary to some. In addition,
it may also be questioned on the ground that it does not conform to the statute under which it is made. It may further be questioned on the ground that it is contrary to some other statute. That is because subordinate legislation must yield to plenary legislation. It may also...
Marvi, रुक जाओ. ठीक है. So this is Supreme Court judgment, which is commonsensical. It says that subordinate legislation, if it is in contrary to any statute, rather any statute, that statute would prevail because Parliament and state legislature, it's their business to legislate. If they have legislated something, it's final. You got it as a central government got it as a delegated legislation, as a gift from Parliament that you can legislate on this account. That's all. But if that gift is conflict to the main legislation, then that gift to central government shall not prevail. That is Supreme Court. Yes, Marvi, you can remove this. So this is Indian Express, and because of this reason, this notification itself is also challenged in Bombay High Court in the case of Tata Communication Limited, saying that how could central government issue notification extending time limit and extending old law, extending time limit and also extending old law in conflict to parliamentary enactment. which is in force on 1st April 2021. And Bombay High Court has issued notice and stayed the reopening notice. And if we see settled legal Morvi, you can provide this in chat box, the citation of Indian Express.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So far as legal position is concerned, it is very clear. Now, so my opinion as a lawyer is that these 5 years reopening notice, you can say your client that there is no need to go to assessing officer because it is a case of no jurisdiction. You can stay, if stakes are high, you can directly go to High Court, get the stay, and most likely these notices are going to be quashed and your problem is solved. And the client is very smart. Well, okay, it is solved. What about the new law? Because new law also is there, reopening. If I get it stayed and quashed, department can take action under new law also. So what is the new law in this? So you would explain what is the new law. In these facts, what is the new law? The new reopening law from 1st April 21 is such, the salient features are such, that first of all, they have introduced a system that before issuing reopening notice, you will issue a notice under section 148A, new section. Where, why? Let me, because to reduce litigation, the object of this kind of legislation, first we will put this information for reopening before SSC, take his view, and if the assessing officer still feel reopening is to be done, then only reopening would be done. That is first 148A. That is natural justice. You don't straightway reopen the cases of SSC as it used to happen earlier, because they are completed assessment. You straightway reopen, then try to justify reopening. Better do 148A first. Ask from SSC his response. And if still you feel that reopening is good, then you good. So 148A has to be done. Okay. That is procedure number 1. Then client would say, Baba kar dega 148A, kar dega, unko kya problem hai? 148A ka notice de dega. But there is a problem. Because under new law, the power of reopening is taken away from assessing officer virtually, essentially, in essence. Under new law, if you read section 148, under new law, reopening can be done in normal cases only on 2 grounds. First, CBDT flagging the information on some portal, under risk management strategy. Assessing officer, even if he knows that income is escaping assessment, he has no power in the new law to reopen. That power is taken away. He will only issue notice. If you read 148, it is clear that only on 2 accounts reopening can be done. Number 1, CBDT flagging the information on portal under risk management strategy. That means CBDT will compile information. They will flag. There only on those information reopening can be done. Power of assessing officer has been taken away. Look, explanation 1 of section 140, new section. Roman 1, any information flagged in the case of SSC for relevant assessment year in accordance with risk management strategy followed by board. And second, any final objection raised by CAG. You read this new section. That is why I am saying there is a limited scope for reopening under new law. Assessing officer is no more the authority to decide reopening. Please see the law. So you can tell your client, Baba, in order to reopen under new law, these 2 crore of losses which you are talking about every year, speculation loss, it has to be flagged by CBDT or should be notified by CAG as final audit report. Then only reopening can be done. Assessing officer's power of reopening on its own account is taken away under new law. So you can, then client is still smart. He say, Baba, that's fine. That these are the internal information of 2 crore speculation losses set off against business income. But you know what kind of officers are they? They are the people inside the system. They will get it notified by CBDT. They will get it flagged by CBDT. They are the person inside the system. They will not let it go so easily. 2 crore each year, 5 years. So they may get it flagged through commissioner. And if it is getting flagged, then he can reopen under new law. What is the benefit of litigation then? That is the question client would ask and clients would ask, and you would have to answer that. What is the advantage of litigation going to High Court when he, even if he is failure there, he can again do it under 148A and 148(7) new? The answer is that under new law, it would be difficult even if it gets flagged. Suppose it gets flagged by CBDT, still reopening is not possible in this case under new law. Try to understand why. Because under new law, what is the law? For reopening, first I have already told you that information based reopening is there. But in section 149, they have changed the time limit for reopening under new law. What they say, that under new law, you can reopen up to 3 years with no conditions attached. Only information should come and you should be satisfied that there is a escapement, you can reopen. But beyond 3 years, if you want to go, then there are 2 conditions attached. Extra condition under new law. What are the extra condition? Number 1, escapement should be more than 50 lakhs. And number 2, that escapement should be represented in form of asset. Please see new section, or maybe you can show the new section. Beyond 3 years, if you want to go, then what is this? The time limit for notice is, maybe you can read it for us.
No notice under section 148 shall be issued for the relevant assessment year, clause B, if 3 years but not more than 10 years have elapsed from the end of the relevant assessment year, unless the assessing officer has in his possession books of accounts or other documents or evidence which reveal that the income chargeable to tax represented in the form of asset which has escaped assessment amounts to or is likely to amount to 50 lakh rupees or more for that year.
So this is the new law, that naturally this clause in this case, if assessing officer want to reopen under new law, clause B would be applicable. That is, it is beyond 3 years now. 1718 is beyond 3 years now. Then what is the additional condition? Escapement over 50 lakhs, which is there because escapement is 2 crore. But the other condition is that it should be represented in form of asset. It should be represented in form of asset. Now this loss is speculation loss, cannot be set off. Escapement is there. But where is the asset? Money has actually gone out of the company. There is no asset. If there is a speculation loss of 2 crore, which is actual loss, escapement has taken place because set off is wrong. what I'm saying that this assessment, there is a escapement of assessment, but where is this? Where is this representation form of asset? Because money has actually gone out. If a escapement is represented in form of asset, then only reopening is valid. So where here money has gone out. So various disallowance sections where there is only escapement, but no representation in form of asset, then it will the AO shall not be able to issue notice under 148. Even if he issue notice under 148, you can convince the AO, Baba, this is beyond 3 years. Where is the representation in form of asset? Please drop it. So similarly, if there is this issue for disallowance of 48.2, 48.3, 80IB wrong claim, 80IA wrong claim, doesn't matter. If 3 years period has gone away, because escapement is there, not represented form of asset, it's over. So that is what I was saying, that new law is much better than the old law so far as reopening law is concerned. So you can say your client that under new law, even if it gets notified by CBDT, of course AO would issue the notice, but he is only a machinery handmade in the hands of CBDT. The reopening is now centralized in the hands of CBDT or CAG. But the time limit of 3 years has passed, so representation in form of asset would save you. So this is the case study to explain the old versus new and some salient feature of new provision. Let us see if there is some questions in chat box, or if people want to raise some question, they can raise it, because this case study was just a preliminary beginning of the reopening. Chat box mein, is there questions, or then we can address them before proceeding?
Yes, I'll just read out the questions.
Yes.
For how many years should assessee preserve books of accounts in light of amendment made in time limits for reopening of assessment under section 147, 148?
Yes, that is with respect to books of accounts. Now, earlier there used to be 6 years period for reopening. Now there is 10 years period for reopening. The question is, Baba, क्या 10 साल books रखना पड़ेगा? I think this is the question, Morbi.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Now
sir.
the-
Yes, sir.
Okay. For this, I have an answer. Answer is that books of accounts maintenance is covered by section 44A, AA, read with rule 6F, which still says that you have to maintain books of accounts for last 7 years only. If you see that rule 6F, read with 44A, AA, that is not amended. Only once 47 is amended. So far as law of maintenance of books are concerned, 44 AA, read with 6F, it is still is the old law of 6 years. You see, rule and section. But then one would say, then how, if reopening is done for 10 years, how would I handle if I have disposed of the books? You can handle, because beyond 3 years, if you go, then the law for reopening is that, what is the law for reopening? Then the law for reopening is that the escapement should be 50 lakhs and it should be represented in form of asset. Evidence should be there with AO that it should be represented in form of assets. So it's a limited reopening where evidence is with assessing officer to invoke disallowance. And if he wants the books beyond 6 years, you can simply refuse, according to me, saying that section 44 AA, read with rule 6F, ask me to keep books of accounts only for 6 years. They want me to maintain books accounts. If you want to reopen beyond it, your reopening is limited to evidence with you. That is evidence in form of assets. So confine your reopening to that extent. So my answer to this question is that still the maintenance of books of accounts is governed by Rule 6F, read with 44AA, that is 6 years from end of assessment year, last 7 years only. Marvi, next, any other question?
Yes, sir. I'll just read out the next question. Whether government can amend the law retrospectively for AY 13-14 to 17-18 pertaining to extension of time limit.
Yes. Yes. Yes, if a lot of writs are filed, now people are thinking of filing writ petition, then the question arises that this is a mistake done by central government, parliament, that at one hand they have delegated to central government to extend the time under old law, and at the same time they have enacted a new law which is in conflict to the old law. And parliament still feels that for old law should continue till 30th June 2021, because a lot of SSC will scale, lot of reassessment would get killed otherwise. This is the question, Marvi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is the question. So my answer is who can stop the parliament to enact retrospective legislation? The Constitution law says, the Constitution of India says that only criminal laws cannot be retrospective. Constitution does not put any restriction on parliament with respect to passing a retrospective law in civil matters. In civil matters, the power of parliament to pass a retrospective law is not controlled by Constitution of India. So parliament can pass a retrospective legislation. What they can do, they will provide a saving clause in new 147 saying that because of COVID, the old law for reopening would continue up to 30th June 2021. That kind of amendment or explanation central parliament can bring in. There is no restriction to that power, but that law would also then be challenged. We cannot say because civil law there is full power over retrospective legislation. Correct. Am I clear, Marvin?
Yes, sir.
Or something more is to be spoken on this? So my answer is parliament wants, they can bring in retrospective legislation because there is no restriction as per Constitution of India for retrospective legislation. So far as civil law is concerned, there is restriction only on criminal law. Yes, any other
Next
question?
is why is this notification not yet challenged, and if challenged, what is the outcome? So this has already been challenged, and I have mentioned the citations in the chat box. I'll move to the next question.
Yes.
This
notification is already challenged in Bombay High Court in communication. Yes. Yes, please.
This is by Aditya Maheshwari ji.
Continue.
Yes, sir. One of my client has received a notice under section 148 on 29 June 2021 for AY 17-18. Now, whether client has to approach High Court or simply write to AO stating that the notice is illegal and give reference of High Court decision as quoted.
Yeah. High Court judgment is only, it's not final judgment. So will not accept it as a binding precedent because only what High Court has done is they have entertained the writ petition and issued a stay. that no further proceedings with High Court because it's only interim order, not final order. And if you say, if you ask AO not to proceed with, he will not listen to you because he would be governed by that notification of central government. He will simply say that I have power because of this notification to issue notice up to 30th June 2021 and I am acting under that power only till court does not finally decide whether this notification is unconstitutional. Till that time, this notification is operative and in force, and I am acting under it only. So, assessing officer is not likely to oblige you. That is my view. That is my understanding. And people are that's why approaching High Court straightway and not allowing the AO to do anything. And High Court is granting stay. Yes. Yes, Morbi.
If the tax and interest, etc., involved is less than 50,000, is it practical in such a case considering the litigation cost for the High Court matter?
50,000. 50,000.
Yes.
50,000 के लिए कोई रीओपनिंग करता भी नहीं है आजकल. क्वेश्चन में मिस्टेक है. 50 lakhs होगा मैडम.
And last question is, can we move a writ petition after our objections are rejected by AO?
Yes. Yeah, you can. This is a question. Suppose you have already complied with return, already raised the objection. Objection is also disposed against you. Can you go to writ there? Look, this is a question of jurisdiction. Please understand. This is a question of jurisdiction, whether assessing officer has jurisdiction or not. What is jurisdiction? Because this is a country where rule of law is prevalent. There are thousands of authorities in this country. And the authorities are supposed to act as per law within the boundary given by the law. Correct? Otherwise, there will be chaos. This is jurisdiction issue. We call it jurisdiction issue. Suppose an ITO does not have an office. ITO is also an authority under income tax law. But if we start issuing notices, start passing assessment order, total chaos. If assessing officer start issuing 263 notices, it would be chaos. The rule of law is that the authority are supposed to act within the boundaries of their power. That is jurisdiction issue. This is how this country is run by rule of law. So courts are very conscious on jurisdiction matter. Otherwise, this country cannot be run. So what I was saying, that is why Supreme Court has held that suppose at first instance you were not conscious of your right and you have complied with a wrong authority or wrong action of authority so far as jurisdiction is concerned, no problem. You can raise issue of jurisdiction anytime up to Supreme Court. Any time up to Supreme Court because jurisdiction issues are very dear to courts. So if you have complied with after objection, before AO, before CIT appeal, before ITT, before High Court, before Supreme Court, you can any time raise this issue. Why we are suggesting not to go in that? Because this will unnecessarily involve you in a litigation which is prolonged up to Supreme Court. If you comply AO, CIT appeal, ITT, we are in this case suggesting our client straightway to go to writ court because it is a case of no jurisdiction. You don't have to respond to AO because it's a case of no jurisdiction and courts are entertaining writ. Yes. But suppose you have complied, then no problem, not to worry. You can raise any time this issue before any court. Yes, Morbi. Morbi, you are mute.
So there are few more questions. I'll just read them out. I have received reason for reopening as null. So how to reply to them?
Reason to reopening as
null.
none. Your question
NWL. NULL.
null.
Yes.
Not question. Not understood. So no answer.
If outcome from High Court is pending and due date of notice under Section 147 expires, then where do we stand?
What is outcome is pending and due date for?
Notice under Section 147 expires.
When notice expires, then what?
Then where do
notice-
we stand?
Question not understood.
Manoj sir, would you like to elaborate?
Question are to be framed in proper language so that it could be understood.
So the earlier question is, I have received reason for reopening as null. Matlab, there is no reason mentioned as such. The reason
Oh,
is
reasons
null.
are not mentioned.
Null, nil. No return. You can say as nil or null.
Then you can ask assessing officer if the reason is nil, why reopening, drop it. It's a good case not to go to High Court. Please ask him there is no reason for reopening, please drop it. It's a maybe by mistake this reopening notice has come. Aditya, am I clear? You can straightway ask him if your reasons are null, please drop it. Because there is a Supreme Court judgment of GKN that once you get reason, you can object and assessing officer has to dispose.
But the objections received.
Look, what is it? I am telling you one more thing. What I have been seeing, because I am chartered accountant also, no?
Yes.
So I have my clients since I was chartered accountant. So I have occasion to see ground realities. What is happening these days? That after reopening notices, straightway 143(2) notices are being issued and their regions are reproduced. On these regions, please respond. I have been seeing notices like this. Reason to believe, they did not serve reason to believe. Straightway 143(2) is coming and there they are reproducing that these are the regions. You respond. This kind of now things are happening. This is, I must say, that this is in conflict to the Supreme Court judgment of GKN. GKN says what? First give reasons to SSC, let him raise the objection and you dispose the objection. After disposing of objection, you take jurisdiction of reassessment, that is 143(2). Here what is happening, if regions are not given, 143(2) is given. And once 143(2) is issued, there is no provision for dropping of reassessment. You see, if you see section 143(3), it says that after 143(2), assessing officer shall proceed to complete the assessment. So before 142 only, if your objections are entertained, it can be dropped. But once 143(2) is done, there is no provision of dropping it. So GKN is violated, and there are so many judgments. If GKN is violated, it's a jurisdiction issue because Supreme Court wants them assessing officer to do this first, then only 143(2), and the entire thing are getting quashed in appeal or in writ proceeding. So if you are, yeah,
notice has been received under 143(2) only, and issues as per reason recorded for reopening are stated as null. No reasons.
Yes. So this how I ask because GKN when say that 143(2) is a commencement of assessment only, no? Taking jurisdiction. How without giving reason, without disposing objections, 143(2) could be done?
Yes, GKN
So it's completely violated these days. Actually, a lot of changes are happening in system. Because of this, it is happening. It is happening so because of this. So, any other question, Morvi?
Yes, sir. Currently filing appeal on portal is not enabled. So what do we do in that case if one has to file appeal? So the due dates for filing the appeal have been extended. There is some glitch in the portal. I think they're still figuring it out. So I think we will just have to wait. Anyway, in any case, the due date has been extended. So waiting is the only option at this moment.
So
And
this
Due date is extended
question
slightly.
is already answered by Morvi, and
Yes.
this was not subject matter of today's topic also. No problem. No problem. Morvi has answered the question. Because of Supreme Court and CBDT circular, there is still time for filing appeal. Kya Morvi?
yes, sir, yes.
Morvi, you are, yes, sir. Morvi has answered it. Another question, madam?
My client received notice on 30th June for AY 1718 from a different assessing officer. He is assessed as at Central Circle and notice came from ACIT. What should be done in that case?
अच्छा, how this happened? भाई ये तो भाई the law is that reopening notices has to be issued by your officer only. This is the law. If your officer is Central Circle officer and your old maybe DCIT has issued 147, then this is a case of wrong authority issuing exercising jurisdiction. So apart from all other arguments, you have one extra argument. You have one extra argument. But if you raise this argument now, the Central Circle will come into action. You take your call. Suppose you bring to the notice of to DCIT that Baba, you are no more my officer. Definitely, your current officer would be informed. So you take proper call. Under old law, it is not possible, 1718, but they can act under new law also. So take prudent and appropriate call, please. Yes. Morvi, continue.
Initially, on receipt of notice under section 148 and finding it illegal, we moved to the High Court. And later, the outcome from High Court is pending. However, the due date for responding to notice has expired and no ITR was filed. So, where do we stand now?
Yeah, Mallavi, you mean to say, if I understand the question is that initial reopening was challenged in the High Court and that is pending in the High Court. And your time limit for completion of reassessment as per section 153 is gone. So the querist wants to know what now? Morvi, this is the question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the answer is that if you go to High Court challenging the reopening notice, then if High Court quash it, it's over. But High Court suppose sustain it, that this reopening is valid, then you, after the reopening is held valid, thereafter assessing officer get fresh time under the old notice to complete assessment, reassessment. It's not that 153 there are explanation. If there is a stay by High Court, because when reopening writ is entertained, stay must have also been given simultaneously. This is the practice of High Court. If they entertain reopening notice writ petition, they simultaneously grant stay also to reopening. So once they decide the matter finally, thereafter assessing officer gets fresh time to complete reassessment. Morvi, please
Yes,
proceed.
sir. So done.
These are all questions which are done for the time being. Now, should I make issue little more complicated? We have
Sir,
time.
go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, go ahead, sir. Sir, time
Yes.
is there. You can take your time, sir.
Yeah. Now there is 2-3 aspects I must cover, and at the end you can open verbal questions also if time is there. Yeah, 2-3 more aspects. Now there is so I have make you understood the new law of reopening, the salient feature, that is 148A, number 1. Number 2 is limited time for reopening 3 years, and beyond 3 years if you go, then what? Then what? So I take one more situation. I amend my case because it requires some understanding. The new law. Suppose instead in my illustration that I gave, there is a loss of 2 crore speculation loss set off against business income. So I said, where is the asset? If you even if you detect after 3 years, money has actually gone. But in my last seminar, somebody asked me this question. Please suppose instead of this loss being speculation loss, this loss is alleged to be bogus loss. This 2 crore, 2 crore, 2 crore, 5 years, this loss is bogus loss. Then under new law, whether reopening is possible prior to 3 years. Morbi, my question is clear. That is a question asked by me in last conference by some participant.
Yes,
Morbi
sir.
is there. My question is clear.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
instead of speculation loss where money has actually gone, suppose there is a bogus loss. Then let us analyze this situation. Suppose this is a bogus loss instead of. Then what the new law is saying that beyond 3 years if you have to go, beyond 3 years if you go, the reopening is permissible only if the escapement is more than 50 lakhs. Further, it should be represented in form of assets. Then somebody would argue that somebody can argue, अरे बाबा इसमें तो 2 करोड़ 50 लाख से 2 करोड़ का लॉस है तो 50 लाख से ऊपर का तो हो ही गया. अब रहा क्या? रिप्रेजेंटेड इन फॉर्म ऑफ एसेट. अगर ये बोगस लॉस है, अगर ये बोगस लॉस है तो नेचुरली चेक दिया होगा तो कैश तो आया होगा ना, कैश आया होगा तो रिप्रेजेंटेड इन फॉर्म ऑफ एसेट हो गया है. तब तो बोगस लॉस है, तब तो 3 साल के ऊपर जा सकते हैं. ऐसा ऐसा डिपार्टमेंट का व्यू हो सकता है. उसका आंसर है, अगर आप डेफिनेशन ऑफ एसेट देखोगे तो उसमें आया है इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी होना चाहिए 50 लाख से ऊपर का रिप्रेजेंटेड इन फॉर्म ऑफ एसेट. सेक्शन देखोगे आप 148 में दिया हुआ है, 149 में ये उसमें एसेट भी डिफाइन किया हुआ है. एसेट स्पेसिफाइड एसेट क्या क्या है? इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी है, शेयर्स है, बैंक डिपॉजिट है, लोन्स है, एडवांसेज है, बट कैश नहीं है उसमें. देखो डेफिनेशन को, कैश नहीं है उसमें. तो इधर अगर बोगस लॉस का एलिगेशन है तो कैश तो आया होगा, लेकिन वो एसेट तो कैश है नहीं उसमें. जरा डेफिनेशन देख लो आप लोग, उसका पर्पज है वो मैं बताता हूं क्या है, ये क्यों है, इस सब मैं बताता हूं. इसका पर्पज क्या है कि पार्लियामेंट में एक क्वेश्चन उठा, तो न्यूज़पेपर में भी आया कि जब ये लोग सर्च करते हैं कहीं पे भी, सर्च एंड सीजर प्रोसीडिंग कभी भी करते हैं तो सब केवल बुक एंट्री से सम मनी इज रिसीव्ड, सम पेमेंट इज मेड, just on the basis of book entry they make appraisal of say hundreds of crores and they make assessments of also hundreds of crores. assets कुछ नहीं दिखता है उधर, only books से कागज से केवल ये केस बन जाता है. those of us who are handling search must be knowing it, how appraisal is done, how assessments are done, right, left, center. Suppose receipts are there, they are added, expenditures are also added, cash on money is added, and expenditures are not allowed because of 48(2)(3) वगैरह वगैरह. So in such cases question was raised in parliament also in newspaper कि बाबा you are making cases for hundreds of crore. अगर कोई bankrupt को भी रेड हो जाए तो 400 करोड़ का आप लोग अप्राइजल करके असेसमेंट कर देते हो, तो what is this? Then they came out with this amendment first in 153A search में. अब 147 में also they have brought amendment because search is also now covered by 147. They are saying that beyond 3 years if you want to go for reopening, just don't make reopening on book entry, find asset also. And they have not considered cash as asset because cash तो आता है और चला जाता है, आता है तो लग भी जाता है. They have not considered cash in that explanation, you see it. So the new laws want beyond 3 years, if you want to make any addition, you find an asset also. So you, in this case, if there is a speculation loss, suppose, instead of speculation loss, there is an allegation of bogus share loss of 2 crore each, even if it is bogus, the check has gone, cash has come, but where is the asset? Cash is not found. Cash must have been deployed where nobody knows. So, according to me, under new law, beyond 3 years, even if there is a evidence of bogus speculation loss been set off with normal income, assessing officer has obligation to find assets, whether book में हो चाहे book के बाहर हो, in order to invoke reopening of assessment. So this is new law. That is why I was saying that the new law is favorable to SSC. New law is favorable to SSC. That is why there is a desperate attempt by department to invoke old law up to 30th June, and they are hell-bent to do so. So somebody asked Parliament amendment भी ले आएगा क्या? तो ला सकता है भाई, उनको करना है वो. पार्लियामेंट तो CBDT और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस रिकमेंड करेगा, वो पास कर देता. वहां क्या डिस्कशन होता है? वहां कुछ डिस्कशन तो होता नहीं है पार्लियामेंट में, तो पास कर देगा. एक्चुअली लेजिस्लेशन तो यहीं से हो रहा है, वहां तो बस अप्रूव हो रहा है. ये एवरीबडी नोज व्हाट हैपेंस इन पार्लियामेंट. एवरीथिंग इज डन बाय एग्जीक्यूटिव ओनली. No discussion, no debates. Generally, tax laws are the laws, those approved by, passed by Parliament. We feel it is a legislation by executive only. They have to just pass through a procedure of getting it approved in Parliament. Who debates, who discuss these laws? So something may come, because this is a lapse which has this is a lapse by administration, that they, while enacting new law 147, they disregarded COVID situation. They forgot the COVID situation and compulsion of. So something may be done by retrospective amendment also. So where I was saying that new law is favorable to SSC, except the time limitation is much more as compared to earlier law. Otherwise, it is favorable to SSC. That is bent to continue with the old law up to 30th June. And but the high courts are there to frustrate departments' design or intention or motives. And there is opportunity for SSC that they can skip these so many large number of reopening because of massive mistake committed by administration. Yes. So this is one point I wanted to clarify. One more point I wanted to clarify. I was a consultant to a person who was searched, a group who was searched, and there is a provision in section 153A, similar provision, 50 lakhs. If you see section 153A, which is still in vogue, when search takes place, 150 assessments are done under section 153A. 6 years are automatically reopened. Beyond 6 years, if it is to be reopened, then there is the same conditions which we read, that there should be escapement of 50 lakhs or more, and it should be represented by asset. If you see 153A, you will find the same provision. Because now search is also brought under 147, the same provision is incorporated in 147. So I was a consultant to a group which was searched, and here it's the same provision was invoked, means his 9th year was reopened. 6 years are automatic. The necessary condition for reopening under 153A was same, 50 lakhs escapement represented in form of asset. So his 9th year was reopened. So I asked the client came to me, 9th year भी खोल दिया है इसमें. So I asked there a chartered accountant who was handling that search. I asked to chartered accountant from the officer, कि बाबा what is the reason why you have opened 9th year? तो वो बोला कि इसमें इंफॉर्मेशन है 9th ईयर में। बोले क्या है? बोले कोई 1 करोड़ का बोगस लोन इसमें आया हुआ है, कोई ने स्टेटमेंट दिया है, कोई हवाला पार्टी ने कि 1 करोड़ का लोन 9th ईयर में इसमें बोगस आया हुआ है, तो इसलिए मैंने खोला है। Then CA report came to me and say, Baba, this is the reason why he has invoked 9th year. हम बोला this. I asked him to go again to that officer, Central Circle officer. Ask him, where is representation in form of asset? This is a liability. Loan is a liability of 1 crore. Where is asset? Then officer responded, well, of course, this 1 crore is a bogus liability. बट जो बैंक में बैलेंस गया इसका बोगस स्टेटमेंट तो हो गया 1 करोड़ का, बट इसमें जो बैंक में बैलेंस गया उस बोगस चेक का वो तो एसेट है ना। इट इज रिप्रेजेंटेड इन फॉर्म ऑफ एसेट्स, आउट ऑफ बुक्स होना चाहिए। कहाँ लिखा है प्रोविजो में? इट शुड बी रिप्रेजेंटेड इन फॉर्म ऑफ एसेट। बुक्स में है, बैंक में है, बैंक डिपॉजिट एसेट में है, तो उसमें तो है ना तुम्हारा, तो कंडीशन फुलफिल हो गया, मैंने 9th ईयर खोल दिया, तुमको जो करना है करो। So you try to understand. Suppose it's a bogus loss, yeah, bogus expenditure, not being brought into books or not reflected in form of asset, you can escape. But अगर वो bogus loan entry है, bogus share capital है, long term capital gain bogus है, वो तो बैंक में बैलेंस आ रहा है, तो represented in form of asset हो गया। So in new law, if there is a bogus loan, bogus long-term capital gain, or yes, bogus share capital, these allegations are there, though these are credit items, but still these are only for escapement. If it is more than 50 lakhs, then go and see. If it is in bank balance, then it is represented in form of asset. And so you may argue, बाबा वो तो बैंक में गया, अब कहाँ गया, मैंने तो लोन भी रिपे कर दिया, वो तो बाद में रिपे हो गया 1 करोड़ का, अभी कहाँ है एसेट? बोला अभी कहाँ है देखने का, एक बार एसेट रिप्रेजेंट होना चाहिए ना, उस समय हो गया। अब वो तुम बोलते हो मैंने बाद में लोन रिपे कर दिया, उससे क्या हुआ? द कंडीशन इज फुलफिल्ड, तो रीओपनिंग इज वैलिड, यू हैव टू पे tax. That is department's contention, and I found weightage in the officers, the Central Circle officers view. I found weightage because if matter goes to court someday, court may decide in favor of revenue. That is my view for each case. So these are few things I wanted to tell. One more, yes, one more thing I would like to say regarding new provisions of 147. Old is gone, but old legacy is still continuing. We have to tackle with old law for some more time because they are issuing notices under old law. Old law is gone, but I was thinking on one more aspect, legal aspect, regarding this reopening. Look, I have told you, but I just give a short idea. I have told you that after 1st April 21, if reopening notices are issued under old law, I am of the view that that is illegal. It's a lawyer's view. Court would have to take call someday. But there is a very solid case in favor of SSC. But suppose these notices, reopening notices under old law issued before 1st April 2021. Take for instance, 15th March 2021, January 21, reopening notices are issued and the reassessment is going on right now. What would happen? Is there something for those cases also or not? I am going to complicate for you people whether something is there in those notices or not. So suppose the SSC received a notice on 15 January 2021 for assessment year 16-17, suppose, or 13-14. Now, reopening notice is done, reason to believe, everything is asked, and we are in July right now. Reassessment is continuing. There is a legal view, you see. You try to understand, please concentrate on legal position first, then we will come to this case. Legal position is this, that if some law is substituted by a new law, for example, old 147 is substituted by a new law, the settled legal position is this, that substitution of law does two things. It deletes the old law and enforce the new law. Substitution of law, this is a case of substitution of law, does twin things. Deletes the old law, and second, it introduces a new law in force. So old law is deleted. Suppose old law is deleted, but you will say notice is issued in this case before deletion of old law. Old law is deleted from 1st April 2021, but the notice is issued under old law. Legal position is this, that if some law is deleted, unless there is a savings, the proceeding under deleted law could also be stalled. Please understand one more thing. The 147 old law is deleted on 31st March 2021, but notices are issued, proceedings are going on. When that law is deleted without appropriate saving clause, then new law is in force. New law is in force. If old law is deleted, then action pending under old law should also get stalled. That is also one legal view. So, because the basis of this view is that Parliament saw fallacy, mistakes, drawbacks in old law, so they substituted the new law. Please understand this. Parliament found old law to be too litigative, not business friendly. So they say enough with the old law. We will continue with the new law. This is the new law, which is less litigative, more business friendly. So with that object, they have substituted the new law. So Parliament has clarified its intent, will. They were not happy with the old law. So they have removed the drawbacks of the old law and come to the new law. So after Parliament has done it, if executive still continue with the old law, which Parliament did not like, then the law is there should be saving clause. To old proceeding to continue, there should be saving clause. Where is the saving clause in 147, old 147? That proceeding which was initiated prior to its deletion would continue even after deletion. There is no saving clause. This is highly litigative matter, but there is no saving clause that proceeding initiated for repeal of old law would continue even after the introduction of old law. That saving is not there, and Parliament clearly was of the view that old law was not good law. It was too litigative. It was not business friendly. So they have come with the new law. So new law, when in force, then old proceeding should be stalled. We have seen such principle in number of income tax cases also earlier, where, for example, in 43B, you must have read the judgment of Supreme Court in Allied Motors, where earlier they were not allowing statutory payment if due date is gone, but they cured the law by saying, Baba, okay, in the year when you pay, with some date they amended the law. After this date, what will happen if you pay in the year, in that year it would be allowed. But because it was a curative law, it was given a retrospective. If you, this is a settled principle in 40A1A में भी ऐसा ही हुआ, हर जगह ऐसा होता है कि कोई क्यूरेटिव आता है तो वो फिर उसको में भले ही वो नहीं था, suppose somebody has received it is involving huge stake, suppose, and because the principle which I am saying that in old 147 there is no saving clause, that pending proceeding would continue, and because of the object of new legislation saying that the old law was too litigative, not business friendly, one can say that after 1st April, even the notices are issued prior to it, the executive should not enforce the old law. That is just for the thought. Somebody, because suppose there is a huge stake in January notice, 100 crore stake, then what you do? If you find some way to oppose it legally, you will explore it, because Parliament didn't wanted from 1st April this to be law, and you are continuing under old law without saving clause. So that is just I wanted to share with you. It's a too complicated legal position, but lawyers do take this kind of position in courts, I tell you. When I was CA, I was going up to tribunal. Now I am going to High Court and Supreme Court, and I see these kinds of arguments are being made, and court entertains these kinds of argument in proper situation, appropriate situation. So these are the few things I wanted to tell about old law and new law. And last, there may be some more questions. I have 12 minutes, and search and seizure. Any other question or search and seizure? 10 minutes I will speak and I will close. Morvi, any other question? New fresh question?
So there's just one more question. I'll read it out. My client has received notice under Section 148 of the Income Tax Act for AY 1516 on 29 June 2021. So is it allowable now for AY 1516? So I think based on our discussion, he may approach the High Court for getting this getting this notice set aside, since it is for AY 1516 and it is issued in the old act and it is issued on 29 June 2021.
Yeah, Morvi is answering all my questions. Morvi, सारा आंसर मेरा तो ही कर दे रही है. अच्छा है, good. चलो मेरा हल्का हो रहा है. ठीक है.
सर आपकी शिष्य
Then
है सर.
there is, because there is no. अरे मास्टर बच्चे ये लोग गुड मास्टर हैं. तो ठीक है, अभी आगे चलते हैं. आगे क्या हुआ है, इन्होंने रीओपनिंग का तो ये हो गया, थोड़ा बहुत मैंने बता दिया. बाकी आप लोग सेक्शन पढ़ोगे तो बहुत मजा आएगा कि नया लॉ है. अब थोड़ा सा पढ़ना, डीपली पढ़ना का है इसमें स्टेक्स, बिकॉज रीओपनिंग का मतलब डिमांड है, ऐसा समझ लो. इसको भी डिमांड होता है, ठीक है, बट रीओपनिंग का मतलब डेफिनेट डिमांड. बिल आ गया है, पैसा भरना पड़ेगा, मोर और लेस सेटल्ड है, और नया इशूज भी आ जाता है. रीओपनिंग किया इस ग्राउंड पे और नए इशूज और खींच लिया. सर्च एंड सीजर बताने की जगह उसमें टाइम लग जाएगा, छोड़ देते हैं. 2-3 एस्पेक्ट्स और बता देते हैं. इंडिया लिमिटेड का केसेज है, वो बोलता है कि बाबा चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन फॉर रीओपनिंग इज नॉट परमिसिबल. आप लोग सबको मालूम होगा. सपोज कोई इशू पे ओरिजिनल असेसमेंट दे दिया, सपोज, अब वो वापस उस पर रीओपन करना चाहता है, ऐसा करता ही है. नया अफसर आया, कोई नया इंफॉर्मेशन आया, रीओपन करना है. तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कैलकुलेटर ऑफ इंडिया में ये बोला हुआ है कि असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने एक ओपिनियन बना के आपको कोई लीव पुराना दिया है तो अब वो उस रिलीफ को विड्रॉ नहीं कर सकता। रीजन टू बिलीव में चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन नहीं आता। आई थिंक मोस्ट ऑफ अस नो दिस concept. The change of opinion is not permissible for reopening. That was under old law. अब question to suppose under new law, suppose एक पुराना स्क्रूटनी हुआ उसमें अलाउ हो गया, सपोज 80 IB का क्लेम अलाउ हो गया बिल्डर को। अब वो नए लॉ में सीबीडीटी ने रिस्क मैनेजमेंट स्ट्रेटेजी में फ्लैग कर दिया सपोज। इसी तरह कोई भी एक आइटम अलाउ हो गया था, रिस्क मैनेजमेंट में उसको फ्लैग कर दिया। तो क्वेश्चन उठ रहा है कि क्या चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन अभी हम कर सकते हैं 148A में? वो नोटिस तो देगा, क्या चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन हम प्रेस कर सकते हैं इसमें कि ये तो ऑलरेडी अलाउड था, अब क्या होगा? तो उसका आंसर ये है कि पहले असेसिंग ऑफिसर वाज द अथॉरिटी टू रीओपन और उसको रीजन टू बिलीव चाहिए था असेसिंग ऑफिसर को। अभी उसका रीओपनिंग पावर ले ही लिया गया है। आप लोग लॉ पढ़ लो, उसके पास अब पावर रहा नहीं, वो केवल नोटिस इशू करता है, बस मशीनरी है, नोटिस इशू करता है। क्योंकि रीओपनिंग आता है सेंट्रल सीबीडीटी से या सीएजी से आएगा, वो रीओपन कर देगा। उसके पास उसको अब रीजन टू बिलीव बनाने का जरूरत ही नहीं है, क्योंकि उसका रीओपनिंग करने का पावर ले लिया गया है। पार्लियामेंट ने अब उसको रीओपनिंग करने का पावर छीन लिया है, उसको लायक नहीं समझा, उस पर भरोसा नहीं है। रीओपनिंग अब सेंट्रलाइज्ड हो गया है, सीबीडीटी सेंट्रलाइज कर दिया है रीओपनिंग को। वो अब जो चाहेगा कि कौन सा इंफॉर्मेशन फ्लैग होना है, और उसके बाद असेसिंग ऑफिसर एक मशीनरी के रूप में 148A कर देगा। ये पोजीशन है। अब उसमें पूछा जाएगा कि जो चीज असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने पहले ही हमको अलाउ कर दिया था, अब वो फ्लैग सपोज हो गया वो सीबीडीटी से आगे आने वाले सिस्टम में, बिकॉज ऑफ एनी रीजन एओ ने ही करा दिया या कैसे भी कमिश्नर ने करवा दिया फ्लैग। तो अब क्या हम चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन का सारा ले पाएंगे क्या? ये क्वेश्चन है नए लॉ में। तो इसका स्ट्रेट आंसर तो यही है कि बाबा अब तो रीजन टू बिलीव एओ बना ही नहीं रहा है, तो चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन तो रीजन टू बिलीव के अंदर ही परमिसिबल नहीं था। अब तो लॉ चेंज हो गया, अब तो ओपिनियन रीजन टू बिलीव का कोई जरूरत नहीं है। अब तो सेंट्रलाइज्ड इंफॉर्मेशन बेस्ड रीओपनिंग हो रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ सीबीडीटी। तो अभी चेंज और एओ कर भी नहीं रहा है, अब तो सीबीडीटी के इंफॉर्मेशन पे हो रहा है। तो चेंज ऑफ ओपिनियन का कॉन्सेप्ट खत्म। एओ ने पहले अगर कोई अलाउ भी कर दिया है, सीबीडीटी ने फ्लैग कर दिया है, तो 148 हो जाएगा। दैट इज वन व्यू which seems to be a legal view, correct view, because now CBDT जो information फ्लैग कर देगा that is sufficient for reopening। उसको रीजन टू बिलीव सीबीडीटी को भी नहीं चाहिए, इंफॉर्मेशन बेस्ड रीओपनिंग है। तो कैलकुलेटर ऑफ इंडिया में would not be applicable now। So even something which you got fully scrutinized and approved, if it gets flagged by CBDT, 148 can be done. So this could be something bad in the new law, because something you got approved, it is getting reviewed now. But this is the legal position. But somebody can argue also that assessing officer has power to assess or rectify under 154. He has no power to review. That is settled legal position. This is power of review is given by law. When even by flagging of information by CBDT, it is assessing officer who is making reassessment. He is actually reviewing his own order, which is not permissible under income tax law. Under income tax law, review power is not there with assessing officer. So from that angle, one can still argue, though reopening is done at the behest of CBDT, reassessment is actually done by assessing officer. Reassessing authority is he only. So when he is reassessing, he has no power to review. So he cannot change his earlier opinion, though information may be flagged by CBDT while framing final assessment order. Assessing officer cannot change his opinion and he will reopen, but he will not reassess. That's all. So with that, my time, I think we are done for the day. Any other question, then we can entertain. Otherwise, we close the session first.
Thank you very much, sir, for deliberation. Sir, I guess all the questions have been answered, actually. All the questions have been answered, and it was a detailed deliberation. And now, yeah, any more questions? If any, and if anyone has any questions, so they can raise their hands for 2 minutes. We can do that, and otherwise we'll proceed further. Okay, Pradeepji Bhandari has raised his hand. Aditya? Pradeepji Bhandari.
I have given him an option to unmute.
Pradeepji Bhandari.
Yes, yes.
Pradeepji, you can. Yes.
Yeah, so my question is, in the nutshell, it means that all the notices which has been issued under section 148 from assessment year 2013 and 14, that doesn't require to be answered. Only remedy is one can go straight to the writ petition court in the High Court.
Okay. Okay, so now we move on to the next thing. Now I request CA Amish Sangoi to give a hearty vote of thanks to Naresh. Amish.
Actually, I am giving the vote of thanks.
No problem.
Yeah.
We can conclude. First thing, I will just 1 minute. Just a moment, sir. Sir, just I will announce tomorrow's program. That tomorrow we had a VCM. It's the 16th meeting dated 11th July 2021. Time will be 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. The topic is applicability of accounting standard for non-company entities and common errors in accounting standard. The speaker is CA Chintan Patel from Ahmedabad. And CPRs is the two structured CPRs which everyone has to attend compulsory as per the CP guidelines. Now coming to the hearty vote of thanks, I will request our past convener CA Aditya Maheshwari to kindly proceed with the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Amish. Firstly, I thank the core team of Andheri Oshiwara Study Circle of WRSC of ICI for keeping the seminar on a very current and very debatable topic. In a very span of 10 days, we have decided that we have to keep this topic. Further, on behalf of the core team, I would like to thank all the members who attended today in large numbers and making this webinar a very successful one. And also bearing with us for some technical issues which were there in the start. Further, I express our sincere thanks to Advocate Naresh Jain for taking time out of your busy schedule and giving us an excellent coverage of validity of notice issued under 148 after 31st March as per old and new provisions in great detail and in very simple and lucid language, and also with reference to latest case laws and also answering queries from the participants. Also, you have explained in detail what was the need for the introduction of the new law and what were the grievances faced by the old SSCs in the old law. Also, we express a deep sense of appreciation for Ms. Morbi Chaturvedi for helping, assisting the speaker and also answering queries, though some queries were not related to the topic also today. So on behalf of Andheri Oshiwara Study Circle, I propose a very hearty vote of thanks to both the speakers for gracing the webinar today and sharing us with your findings and opinions today. We look forward to hear from you in future also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone for being.
Thank you, Naresh sir. Thank you, Morbi. Thank you all
Thank
the
you, sir.
members once
Thank you
again.
for letting us come here and
And sir, you
share.
accepted the invitation at such a short notice. I mean, it was 3 days and you accepted.
Yes,
Thank
it
you
is
very much
great.
on behalf of Andheri Oshiwara Study Circle.